Hi, my name is Jessica Diaz. I'm a social studies teacher at Lucille Brown Middle School in Richmond Public Schools. I'm also a graduate of VCU's RTR program and cohort 7. So I just wanted to make this video to share with all the educators out there some ways that you can maximize your space at home to create a teaching space if you're doing any kind of remote instruction. So just to start off, I teach from my kitchen, so this is my setup when I'm doing online teaching. I was lucky enough to participate with the RPS Summer Camp at Home program, where we were doing synchronous teaching using Google Meet with our students, and it was very convenient for me to associate one place as the area that I'm going to be working, and I was able to work with the people that I live with so that they knew when I was teaching, and they were really respectful of that. And then when I was finished, I would break everything down, put it away into a separate container, a separate area, and it was just nearby so that the following day I was ready to set up. So if you don't have a private space like a home office or a desk that you can use, here's kind of how I set up my teaching space in a kind of shared area of my house, being the kitchen. So the virtual distance learning equipment that I'm going to highlight first is going to be some equipment that was donated to me through a Donors Choose project that I'm really grateful that for my very first project it was fully funded. First that you can see in the shot here is a microphone that I got with my Donors Choose project that was fully funded. What I really like about this microphone, which I'll link in the description, is that it's USB connected and it doesn't require an additional power source, which is great. The second thing that I wanted to point out here, which I'm wearing, are these noise canceling headphones. Now, what I like about these headphones that I'll link is that you have the option to either be wired, which means that they don't need a charge. You can plug it into the headphones directly into the computer, or you can charge these headphones and they have Bluetooth capabilities so that you can have them wirelessly connect without being connected to the computer with this wire. And you can turn it on so that it's using Bluetooth capabilities to connect. And that's really great if you're planning an active lesson so that you can be wearing these headphones and they're not attached to the computer. The other technology item that was donated to me with my Donors Choose project was this dock cam. And what I like about this dock cam is that it is USB connected to the computer, and I connect it to the computer that I'm going to be using for my Google Meet sessions with my students. So if this HP computer, which is my school issue computer, if this is what I'm using to meet with the students on the live synchronous lesson, then if I connect this, I can have students see what I'm writing in real time. Now, I've found that it's best when you're using this dock cam to use a clipboard before you write anything down. And then I personally use the Flair pens by Papermate to write so that anything that I'm writing down is bold. And I have a separate, this is part of my basics kits, I have a separate pencil pouch here that has the Flair marker pens and then more of like the ballpoint pens here that are both going to be pretty bold in color that I use so that if I'm teaching and I want to write something, it's going to be pretty bold. The color's going to stand out, especially on the dock cam, so the students can see what I'm writing. Now this dock cam has capabilities for autofocus, so that's kind of nice that the quality is going to kind of look a little bit better. If you can make sure that your home teaching area is really well lit, that's going to help with this dock cam to have better quality. It also has the function to take pictures and record, and all of those pictures and recordings from this specific dock cam are uploaded directly to your Google Drive, which I found super helpful while I was teaching, because I could write down notes, take a picture, and then immediately access it and put it on my Google Classroom page for students to see the notes that we had just written. All right, a few other things that I have here that is part of my basic setup. I have a water bottle, and one thing I wanted to point out about this is that any kind of water bottle that you might be using, it's really important to have a cap on it because You don't want to have an accident where you're reaching for maybe something in your pencil pouch and then you knock over the water. I've had that happen before where I knocked over the water, but luckily this one is capped, so none of the water leaked on my notes or my technology equipment that could be damaged by water. So again, thinking about what your students might have access to. When we did summer camp at home, all of our kids had a basics kits with markers, pencils, crayons, glue. So all of those items I have in this box over here. I've got sticky notes in this bag, crayons, markers, colored pencils, glue sticks in this pencil setup here. So some things that I knew that my students would have access to, I also just kept nearby. So if we had an assignment and I asked them to color something, I would do it on the dot cam. However, I also gave students the opportunity to make artwork digitally and also just submit their artwork digitally if they didn't have those supplies. Another thing that I have that's really helpful when you're using the dot cam is a dry erase kit. So I've got 2 different boards here. I've got this Bell Excel sheet that I was given with my summer camp kit, and then I have this other dry erase board kit. Now what I also include with my dry erase board kit is different colored markers, so that again you can highlight different things that are going on in your lesson and differentiate to show the differences in your lesson with different colors. And then also, if you don't have a board or a sheet, what you can do is laminate a piece of paper. And what I've done with this piece of paper, I have laminated a grid sheet and I've laminated a lined sheet. So again, you can write on both of these with dry erase markers. And you know, for me, if I'm using the lines, you know, the grid will help me keep those lines going. And then if I'm writing, and what I keep nearby when you're doing any kind of dry erase, I just keep a little spray of water. I got this from the Dollar Tree. And then a little tiny towel. And I just easy clean up on anything that I'm writing. So that'll just make sure that your laminated dry erase board that you create at home will last a little bit longer. And so then I keep all my dry erase kits in this, you know, box here, just to keep it organized, because I know if I'm not using the dry erase board, I don't need any of these materials nearby, and I can kind of move it to the corner. With my home setup, if you have a second laptop, that can be very useful. I found that during summer camp at home, having a second laptop meant that I was able to access my lesson plan and refer to it throughout the lesson. It made that the less that I did on the computer where the students were, the better the quality of the sound and the video that the students experience, because already you can see I've got a lot of things connected to this computer, and if there's more going on that screen, it can lag and it can really just delay the learning experience for students. So I tried to keep on this screen just the basic Google Meet screen and the dot cam screen that the students are looking at, and a video if I'm streaming something to the students. And that's about all that I would have loaded on this computer. And then on this computer, I would have my lesson plan. I would have student workup so I could give them real-time feedback while they're working. So if you have them working on an assignment in Google Slides, you can open up their assignment and give them real feedback. And I was able to do all of that on this computer without interfering with the quality of the stream that the students were getting on this computer. So if you have the ability to have 2 computers, I found that to be very helpful. So over here on my physical materials, I had these 2 workbooks donated to me by Donors Choose. And I might keep these on my physical resource area if I know in my lesson I'm going to be using these. Now, if I'm not going to be using these workbooks during my lesson, I might keep them in my storage area because I don't want too many things on my desk, especially if I'm not going to use it. This area can get crowded very quickly, so as much as you can organize and prioritize what's going to be at your teacher learning station at home, the better. One thing that I keep on here daily in the physical resource things is going to be my planner. So this is just any notes that I've made I can quickly access because I have it over here. One other thing I would recommend is a class record book. So What I like about this class record book is that you can have the subject, the section, and all the students' names, and you could use this maybe for your personal attendance records. You could use this for grades. I use it for grades, and I grade everything on paper first, and then I enter it into our online system. But this is just something that if you're going to be using a paper record holder of any kind, having it nearby on your teacher desk will be very helpful, so you can access that. And the last thing, I just found that a clipboard is super helpful. So if you have an extra clipboard available, that's really nice, because you might want to keep one clipboard for the doc cam and maybe one clipboard for something that you're writing on. This table is pretty flat, so if I didn't have the clipboard, it would be all right. But I just find that writing on the clipboard makes things a little bit more even on your writing, and you don't have to worry about like accidentally hitting a space where there might be like a crease in your table. I will just suggest to you when you're setting up your home office is that make sure you see what your background is and what the kids are going to be seeing while you're setting it up. I've seen some of my friends who work at home, their desks are facing the wall, and just be mindful if you're going to have your video on that if you're facing the wall, the students can see everything behind you. And so I chose to be facing towards the open space and have the kids looking at the wall, because this is a shared area and I didn't want students to be distracted by any of my roommates who might be using the kitchen before they leave for work. So just keep that in mind, that when you're setting up your office, you want to maybe eliminate distractions by having your background be static. So I wanted to show you what the setup that I've been showing you looks like if you are a student or if you're seeing it from a computer screen. So I'm sitting down in my chair, and you can see I've got my microphone from DonorsChoose, the headphones, and I'm going to also show you what my doc cam looks like. This is just an example of what my static background looks like. So even if I stand up and scoot my chair over, the most that I'm going to adjust my camera might just be up so students can see my face a little bit better. And I just wanted to highlight again, I just choose to have a static background so that I'm not creating too many disturbances. If you saw the earlier segment when I'm talking about my background, you can see my pets playing in the background. And if you have pets, you may want to consider how you can minimize pets being in your camera shots, or pets that might be barking if you have a dog. My cats meow a little bit, but throughout summer school, they were pretty good. They weren't too involved. Now, the one thing when I stand up, I do have this cat that likes to come sit in my seat. So that's just one thing you got to be mindful of. It's just sometimes when you have pets, they will definitely try to help you teach. So they enjoy being a teacher's assistant. I'm going to go ahead and share with my screen so that you can see kind of what the doc cam looks like. So you should be able to still see me on the camera, but you can also kind of see the doc cam. And again, we have the feature of autofocus. And if you have a well-lit room, normally the quality is pretty good on this doc cam. And then you can zoom in and zoom out as needed. If you can freeze the frame, so if I freeze it, you won't see my hand moving over it. So this is really great if you wanted to write notes. Freeze it so students have the chance to see what you've written down. Maybe you've written down a question or a problem for the students to answer, and then you can unfreeze it and they can see anything that you've written. So here is one of the flare pens. I've got a blue one right here. So you can kind of see the quality. I find that the flare pens are really nice because they don't bleed through the paper, and even when you zoom in, I think that looks pretty good. So that autofocus, yep. And I can also grab one of the ballpoint pens that I was using earlier, which is also Papermate. This is Papermate Inkjoy. And what you want to be mindful of is when you're writing on the doc cam, that you don't want to write past what your window is. So if I was writing here and then I've written off the page, you can't see that. Your students can't see that. So I found it helpful that while I'm writing, I'm not just looking down at where I'm writing on the physical piece of paper, I'm also looking back at my screen just to make sure that what I'm writing is
equivalent to what the students are seeing.
Just to summarize a few of the main points about creating your at-home teaching space. If you can, having a personal space that you can use every day is really helpful. If you're using a shared space like a kitchen table, it's very helpful just to have a storage plan of where you'll put all your teaching materials when you're done and keeping it nearby so you can set it up quickly. Just think about ways that you will notify anyone else that you live with when you're live teaching. So whether you'll have a sign, whether you'll make a physical barrier, just so people will know to be respectful of their sound while they're near you. In my setup, I have an extension cord and a plug-in area for my computers nearby. I just always had my computers plugged in because I never wanted to run into the issue where my computer would run out of battery in the middle of a teaching or learning session. So just be mindful wherever you set up that you probably do want to be near an outlet so that your power source is not going to be an issue while you're teaching. I hope that this video was informative for you all. If you have any questions, please let me know. I'm super happy to help. And I wish everyone best of luck this year as we start with any kind of digital remote learning. I know RPS are going to be fully online. Other districts, you guys might be doing the hybrid combination of remote and in-person teaching. But whatever you guys are doing this year, I wish you the best of luck. Thanks so much and have a great day.